morning, Delivery Fam, and welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with UDM on the Life of a Gig Worker podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Trump promises no tax on tips, but the question is, will gig workers vote for him? And today, we're going to have a guest that goes by the name of Ace. What's up, Ace? How you doing, brother?
What's going on there, UDM?
I'm pretty good. Have you heard of this no tax on tips thing that Trump is promising?
Yeah, I heard about it.
You heard about it. Uh-oh. the tone of your voice, I don't know how you feel about it, but we're going to dive into it. But just in case the audience haven't heard about it, let's play this really quick.
So this is the first time I've said this, and for those hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy, because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips. We're not going to do it, and we're going to do that right away, first thing in office, because it's been a point of contention for years and years and years, and you do a great job of service. You take care of people. And I think it's going to be something that really is deserved. More importantly, popular or unpopular. I do some unpopular things, too, if it's right for the country. I do what's right. But so those people that have jobs in restaurants, whatever the job may be, a tipping job, we're not going after for taxes anymore. This will be ended.
Now, I know this has been a few weeks, been circulating for a few weeks, but I don't think every single gig worker has even caught wind of this, right? Because when it comes down to campaigns, we know, a lot of lies get thrown around, a lot of promises, a lot of promises. I'm not going to say lies. Let me take that back, right? A lot of promises are made, and when they get into office, it's not done, okay? Now, Trump was president once before. A lot of people didn't want him in office. And then Biden took his place. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people are upset with what has happened since Biden has been in office. Right? And now here goes Trump again. And did you watch the presidential debate?
Just clips of it, and it was a catastrophe.
So okay, all right. Let's just pause for a second here. Okay, it was a catastrophe. These are your words, right? Okay, If it was a catastrophe, and then Trump comes from left field with no tax on tips, as a gig worker, knowing you have these two people, it was a catastrophe, but these two people are the only two that you can possibly vote for. The only thing you can do at this point is just not vote, right? Who would you go for?
Okay, first of all, I don't really think that there is anything that Trump can do that would literally make me vote for him.
Okay.
I think he's a narcissist.
Okay.
I think yes, I can use the word racist based on his background and the things that he's done in his businesses and all of that type of stuff. Okay. So now, with that being said, I don't think that by any stretch of the mean that this man is stupid or dumb. Okay. When he was in the office last time, there was things that he did that benefit me as a independent contractor.
Yeah.
Okay. That's factual.
Okay.
It's factual. However, if we do recent history, if we even going back, maybe 2 decades, when the Republicans is in office, then things tend to favor the business people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's just kind of the way it is. So, I just think that he is a character of his own class. But more than anything, I feel bad. I feel bad for I feel bad for us as Americans. I feel bad as to how we look to other countries. Um, I think that there is other countries that are definitely trying to make a push to knock us off of our top spot, and we look horrible with the fact that these is our two candidates. These are
Yes.
our two candidates. We have a narcissist and somebody who can't string together 15 sentences in a debate and loses where he is. So it's it's bad when you can't see that it's bad and step aside, right? It's just it's bad. I think it looks bad on our Republican and our Democratic Party that y'all didn't have people primed, prepped, and ready, right? So I think we really look bad.
But
that we could potentially have a president that has been convicted of a felony.
Okay. Now, I mean, I understand everything that is being said right now, right?
Right.
Now, the way that I'm looking at this is for the last 8 years, everything that has happened has made me lose. What's the proper word? I've lost a lot of faith in like how serious I used to take like the presidential debates or like just politics, right? I know the word politics is thrown around a lot, but these last few years, I'm looking at it like, okay, it's been a crap show for the last 8 years. All right. I'm like, wait, it's now entertainment versus, man, the president, that's the most serious guy in the whole United States. You know, that's like, that's the person that you like, man, you know, when you see him, you better salute, you know. But at the same time, like I said, the last 8 years has been a crap show, man. It's been all entertainment, you know? And I'm like, okay, now when it's being promised that you will get rid of taxes on tips, and a lot of service workers like ourselves, right? We rely on tips to make the money that we do. Now, whether it's something that they can be done or not, I don't even know what's possible or impossible anymore, you know, because of the last 8 years. It's been such a crap show and it's all entertainment. So I'm like, man, we got a former president that's running for office that's been charged with crimes. We got another one.
No, he's been convicted.
Yes, my bad. Thank you for the correction. I'm just like, wait, what? I could run for president, and I got a clean. Anybody could run for president, right? Now, this is not just about the whole crap show that's been going on for the last 8 years, right? It's just to focus on just the promise on tips. I'm looking at the amount of money that many gig workers have shared online that has come from tips. In one of my last episodes, I shared that a dasher made $100+ on just tips. So I'm like, can you imagine if this were to get pushed through, right? I don't know. In these times, I just don't know, Ace. I don't. Okay.
I mean, that would be a huge. It would be a huge thing. Let's say, I make $100,000 doing my business, right? And if I take the tips out of that, then that it would be very close, if not 50%. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the factor of, hey, I made $100,000 this year. However, I get to take the tips out. I'm only going to be at 50,000, and I got $45,000 in expenses. Now I'm only getting taxed on $5,000. Now come on.
Now, I did some math really quick. For DoorDash Dashers, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna do it live on this episode as we're recording, so we could hear these numbers. Okay, so
okay,
I'm saying DoorDash usually pays about $2 a base pay, right? For $2 base, right? Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but we're just gonna base everything that I'm doing right now off of the $2 base pay. So let's say a full-time Dasher goes out there and they do 20 deliveries for the day. However much they made in tips, that doesn't matter at this point, right?
Okay.
So $2 base times 20 deliveries, we're at 40 bucks. Okay?
Correct.
We're at $40. Now, this $40, let's say this Dasher works 7 days a week. Right?
Right.
This Dasher will have made, with no tax, right? No tax on tips, right? $280. And then we multiply that by 4 weeks in a month. That's $1,120. Okay? $1,120. And then for the year, that Dasher will be will be taxed on $13,440.
Theoretically, yeah. Theoretically, that would be a total, but if that's me, I'm not getting taxed on $13,440 because I haven't took it off my gas, my mileage.
No, I know. Of course, all these other things. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Retract that statement. All right. So after all expenses have been deducted and all that.
That's my gross. Yep,
right. That's the gross, right? The Dasher will be charged or taxed on a portion of $13,000. So let's just say 30% of that, right? Let's just say I don't want to do the numbers right now, but let's say there's maybe about I don't know, what's 30% of 13,000?
I'm just saying let's just say
3,000.
It's going to be 8,000.
Okay, let's just say it's $8,000. Okay, fine. Yep. Let's say it's $8,000.
Taxable income. Yeah.
Taxable income. That in and of itself, that sounds very very nice. I'm just being very honest here. I understand that there's a side of people that do not like Trump, and I get it. And then there's the other side that love Trump. Okay.
Correct.
Now, that in and of itself, if it's able to get pushed through, I'm like, boy, I ain't saying I like him. I ain't saying I don't like him, but thank you. you know what I mean? I ain't saying I like him. I ain't saying I don't like him, but thank you very much. Right?
I'm saying thank you very much, but I'm still saying I don't like you. But hey, if you benefit me, if you do whether I like you or not, you're the president. You're supposed to do things that benefit the country. You're supposed to be able to help us out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I heard this, the only thing that I thought was, if I was the other side, I would have immediately jumped on the bandwagon and agreed with this and said, oh, that makes really good sense.
Yeah.
You would have brought this up to me in a debate and I'd have been like, man, let me get my people.
Yeah.
We need to make this happen.
Yeah.
This is true. Because when you think about tips, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Tips is a gift.
Yeah.
Okay? You do a good job as a waitress and so on and so forth, and I tip you, that's over and above what I'm paying for. It's a gift to you because of what you've done for me. Right. And you should not be taxed on the gift. Right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. This has always been a question amongst drivers, right? Like, why are we being taxed on something that's supposed to be a gift? Especially with like the whole debate online, like no tip, no trip, and then the customer saying I tip after the service, right? Like,
right.
This whole debate, a lot of questions came up. Like, why are we being taxed on something that they feel they will only give us if we did a good job, or if, whatever. And if it's supposed to be a gift, it's an optional. If it's optional, then, we technically speaking, but in the end, the government is going to want what they want. And if we're making, or if we're doing videos saying we're making over $1,000 a week, yeah. The government's going to look at that and say, hey, we want a piece of that. So I did ask a question on the community tab, right? And I asked, Trump said no tax on tips. How do you feel about that? Out of 152 votes, 50% said he got my vote locked in. 21% said I'm still not voting for him. 1% said I can't vote, so whatever, right? And then 28% said sounds too good to be true. Now, I looked at the comment section, and just a few comments here. Juice Ghost says, y'all do realize he said that to a crowd of service workers while in Las Vegas.
Correct.
If you don't realize they all say whatever the crowd wants to hear, then let this be an eye-opener for you. He could have done that at any point the 4 years he was already president if he really wanted to. What's your thoughts on that? What's your response to that?
Here's the thing. Let me tell you what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't peg Trump as a liar. I tend to believe what he says. Whatever the reasons why it didn't happen before, maybe he didn't think about it or anything like that. And maybe he was in this arena around these type of people, and it's something that came to his mind. Because remember, I tell you, I think that this person is very smart.
Yeah.
I think that he is very smart, right? And it came up and he thought about it and was like, oh, I think this should happen. I don't peg him as a liar because if it's something that he said he was going to do and it was dumb and stupid, then he's going to do it.
Yeah.
If he says he's going to do some things, he tends to do the things that he says he's going to do, right? So it's not about him lying or appeasing that crowd just for that time to get a vote.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think that he's just that bold of a person that he believes that he can make things happen no matter what. So
that's interesting.
So I mean, again, but you have to probably look at the demographics of the people that he is talking about. How many of those people are actually voters?
That is true, right? Too. That is
so
true.
You gotta look at that, and his thing could be, I need to target people that's not voting and get them out to the polls to vote and have a reason to vote. Now, what can I do to this demographic to get them to the polls to show up to vote, right? Because the numbers of the people that don't vote is still in the millions, right? So if he wants to tap into some new voters, a new genre, then hey, let me go after the people and let them know what I can do for them, and maybe possibly get them to vote who haven't voted in the last several elections.
And
their new voters, because it's a lot of teenagers that do gig work or waitressing or stuff like that. So
I think it's a power move, and it's genius. I read this online. I was all over Twitter, even like articles written when I was doing some research on it. Everyone is saying it's genius because, and I'm not gonna speak for them, but I'm just looking at it like, oh my gosh, since the pandemic, a lot of people started working for themselves, and since the pandemic, people have been heavily reliant on tips, right? There's been the tip fatigue conversation for years now. Everybody wants a tip. Tip, 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 tip. And now here goes Trump 2024 saying no tax on tips. Whoa. that in and of itself is genius, because so many more people are reliant on tips in 2024 since the pandemic and moving forward.
It is true. If I look at one app, that I use,
mm-hmm.
I made $12.92. Mm-hmm. Okay, I made $12.92 for the week on one app. And then there was $587 of that $12.92 was tips. That's a nice chunk.
That's it. That is.
And that's just one app.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we ain't even talking about if I'm going out there and I got a delivered order that I'm making $280 on, and only $30 of it is a base pay. That's all I would get tipped. That's all I would get taxed on is the $30.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly.
Huge.
Yeah, even though my numbers was off, I didn't calculate all the expenses and everything at first, but then that's exactly the point that I was trying to make, right? By the end of the year,
I would be paying no taxes, buddy. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that.
Especially when you know how to do what the wealthy do, right?
Yes, absolutely. I would not be paying a dime on taxes.
Exactly. So at this point, let me just read a few more comments here, okay? Just going to read a few more here because there's about 5 more comments that were left under that poll. All right. Mm-hmm. Here's the next one. Survive and Thrive says, I've got a bridge for sale. All right. Rideshare Rodeo says, my answer. It is 100% not possible. It's basically not an option. But that is my answer. Then he said, happy 4th, my friend. 100% not possible. This is why I was saying to you earlier, I understand the previous 8 years, the previous presidents, right? Before Biden and Trump, maybe I would have agreed with Rideshare Rodeo's statement here. But I'm like, I don't know what to expect in the next 4 years, you know? I just don't. I don't know what to expect. So it's like, I don't know, Rideshare Rodeo. Not possible.
When they say not possible, I don't really know if they're trying to say it's more than likely not going to happen possible, right? Mm-hmm. Not that the actual statement that he made is not possible, because it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible for that to happen. And every company who tracks how much we have in tips would make it easy. It would be easy. Not only is it possible, it would be easy for them to separate what we had in base pay and what we had in tips, and it would come out in 2 separate lines on our 1099s.
Oh yeah.
So possible? Oh yeah, it's possible.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt, it's possible. The thing that they might be saying is more in the category of that's just not going to happen. Yeah, it ain't possible because they don't believe it's just not going to happen.
I mean,
because they don't want to give up all that money. But if you think about who we're talking about Trump. This man is a mastermind at not paying taxes.
Yeah.
And helping the rich not pay taxes.
Yeah.
Is it possible? You're doggone right, it's possible.
A lot of people will say things like, "Oh, he filed for bankruptcy how many times, and this and that, and yada yada yada." But then I go and I do a delivery at Trump Towers, and it's thriving. Everything is just. I don't know all his other businesses, but it's like Trump Towers down here. Oh, whatever. Trump Towers is thriving.
he did all of that because he's smart. He's did all of that because he knew how to get around the system.
Oh yeah,
he's done that because look, there is other people that do all kind of stuff to try to teach people real estate.
Yeah.
Why? Because real estate is the only business that the IRS allows you to leverage towards your taxes. So why do they do it? They leverage that so they can reduce that tax bill to pay no taxes.
Yeah.
There is so many people that talk about the fact of here's how you get out of taxes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that they can do about it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've heard Robert Kiyosaki speak on making money and immediately investing it into real estate. And the bank gave him, I think he made like $1 million. I don't want to put the wrong numbers out there, but it's like, I think he made like $1 million, and then the bank gave him $3 more million on top of that. You know, so it's like, whoa, just to invest in real estate. And he was saying, man, that year he made a lot of money, you know? So I was like, oh my gosh. So in this case here, just hearing the conversation of, hey, Trump is promising to not tax on no tax on tips. No tax on tips. Everyone that's relying on tips right now in 2024, that even my ear, I'm like, whoa, what? Look, I'm having a podcast episode about it, right? Even my ear is like, okay. Like I said earlier, whether I like them, I don't like them, thank you. Because what we do, we rely on tips, right? Even with like a YouTube channel, right? A lot of the donations that come in, I don't even know if the donation will be considered tips as well, right?
right.
They come in as super chats and thank yous and all different types of ways. Maybe those will be tips as well. And YouTube, man, my mind is blown at the moment because I've never heard this before, and I heard him say something somewhere else on another video that it has never been done. It has never, and he's right. I've never heard anything like this in all of my 38 years of being on Mother Earth. I've never heard of it anytime. You know, maybe it was before I was born, but I've never heard this before. Have you?
I've never heard anybody who was in a position to do anything. I mean, you hear all the different conversations about tips, but I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, we're going to do something about that."
Yeah.
Right? And I mean,
I've never.
Really? You're gonna do something about the tips? I mean, tipping is right now is such a big topic in our country right now, because now you have people that are really getting tired of tipping.
Yeah.
Because tipping is everywhere. Everywhere you go, somebody got a thing out for tips.
Yep.
And it's like, wait, what are you doing for this tip that I should be giving you a tip here? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, that don't make any sense. So people are getting frustrated that everything where they go, they need to tip somebody.
Yeah. And I get it. I totally get it, you know. But let's get through these next 3 screenshots here of these comments. Okay. Citizen No says, I'm not sure who I plan to vote for, but Trump really isn't on the top of the list for me. If I lived in a ranked choice state, I'd have him ranked either second or third on my ballot. The president does not control the tax code. That would be Congress's job. How do you respond to
that? So that's partially true. But the president has a lot. That's the reason why he said he would work on doing it.
Yeah.
That would be something to get into. Because depending on how...
Because he signs it into law. Like Congress does... Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Because the one thing is that really one of the things that people don't understand is that the IRS is... It's really not a government entity, kind of.
Yeah.
It's its own separate type of thing. So
a third party working for the government.
Correct. Yeah. It's weird how it is, because if you work for the IRS, you under government things, but when it comes to how they stand, it's like, oh, we're our own entity over here, right?
Well, before you finish, I mean, when you think about it, these Amazon DSPs, right? They don't directly work for Amazon, but they wear the Amazon brand, vest, van, everything. Correct. So it's similar in my opinion. But go ahead.
Correct. Yeah. So I think that he can do a lot of damage, and like I said, it depends on how the House and the Senate is set up. Correct.
That's correct.
If it's set up in his favor, then
it just might go through.
You push the needle more to his side, right? Okay. And then even if I am a person in the Democratic state with Democrats and something goes to a ballot like that, how many of us you think is going to vote for that to happen? A lot.
Exactly.
Right? Whether it's Trump in office or whether it's Biden in office.
Right.
If it goes before, it's going to be something that's good for the masses, then the masses is going to go for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because this is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is a people thing.
That is correct. Yep.
So
exactly. So let me put this next screenshot up here. The Real Josh 05 says he can say and try to get something approved. I doubt he'd get enough votes for it to pass. Now, I'm going to hold on to this screenshot, okay? Just in case. Just in case it happens. Because, like I said, the last 8 years, Ace, has been such a crap show. I don't even know what's real anymore. Like it's all just, hey, maybe this will happen. I'm being very optimistic here. And like you stated earlier, since when Trump was in office, a lot of things benefited independent contractors, business people, right? And, so I don't know. So Real Josh 05, if you're watching this, I'm going to hold on to this, okay? And we're going to have another conversation, another episode about this, all right? And the very last screenshot here I have is Kevin T says, there are no taxes on cash tips. Which they don't know about it, right?
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, that's absolutely true. There's no tax on cash tips. So that one example that I gave where I made $12.95 in a week, and $580 of it was tips.
Yeah,
that's $580 that was recorded tips through the app. That don't account for how much I got outside of it.
Yeah,
so it could have been more towards $1,400 that I made for that week with any cash tips outside of it.
So, this whole, the entire conversation is something that, I'm one to kind of like stay away from politics. But when I heard no tax on tips, I was like, whoa, I'm pulled right in. Okay. I'm now at the front. I swear, if I was at the press conference of anything, like I'd be, listen, I get my media badge or whatever it's called. I'll be right there up front, okay? Trying to get as many questions answered as possible. But
when you reached out to me and was like, hey, I want you to come on and we're going to talk. And you was like, we're going to talk about Trump. And I'm like, UDM don't talk politics. I bet you he want to talk about him saying no tax on tips. I bet you that's what he wants. I'm like, he don't talk about politics. He never talk about politics. But if you want to talk about Trump now, I'm like, I said, it's the tip thing. There you go. I said, it's the tip thing.
But you know what, though? You know what? I wrote it that way on purpose. I did not want you to know exactly what it was, but when you were inquiring, what is it about? I'm like, oh, here we go.
That's what I said. Know. Is this about the tip thing? Is this about the tip thing? I'm like, yeah, this is about the tip thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have, like side conversations about, what's going on with the debate and stuff like that. But it's like a lot of people are just sensitive, especially when there's so many parties. I just feel like some people don't vote. They don't care to vote. Some people can't vote because they were falsely accused and, like all kind of stuff. They did their time. They're out and they just, have this label on them. There's all these different things that when talking about voting, it's just, man, I just choose not to have public conversations about it. But this one, I said, hey, I don't care how a customer feels, how a business owner feels, Republican, Democrat, doesn't even matter. Okay. I want to talk about this because I'm like, thank you if it goes through, and it will be beneficial to all gig workers, all of us.
Oh, without a doubt. It will be totally beneficial to it. It would change processes for a lot of different people, even for waitresses and they do a lot of things to help them get their tips in cash as opposed to on the card when we put it on the card and all that type of stuff. So it would benefit in a lot of ways, for a lot of people. So
I agree.
It's not enough for me to make me say, oh yeah, I'm heading to the polls and vote for Trump. But hey, if Trump is the one that ends up winning and he pushes this through, like you said,
thank you. Thank you.
But my family thanks you. My children thanks you. My accountant thanks you. My wallet thanks you.
But there's something going on in California, and this is that part of the conversation I wanted to just bring up really quick.
Okay.
This is Gavin Newsom in California has basically, I guess, a lot of Californians, they do not like what he has done in California. But a lot of other people in other parts of the country, they're like, man, oh my gosh, he's doing this. Oh my God, whoa. One of the major things that he has done in California is no more hidden fees. Now, I wanted to hear your response to this because it says, this is coming from the Shade Room, right? Okay. Businesses, including hotels, food delivery apps, airlines, concert venues are now required to include all mandatory fees and surcharges in their advertised prices. So I'm looking at this like, how many times have you gone somewhere and there's an additional charge you didn't even know about?
I mean, it happens all the time.
And when you get there, then they say, oh, we got to charge for this, we got to charge for that. Let's just use hotels as an example. The price that is advertised is like, say, $200 a night at a 4.5-star hotel in a city that you are traveling to, right? But when you get there, there's additional charges of, okay, you paid the $200 a night for maybe like 5 nights, right? And then you get there and you're like, wait, what? $25 extra a night for incidentals? Have you had that experience?
I mean, I was travel like I travel. You can run across those things. I try to make sure I know all of that stuff up front.
Of course, yeah. And depending on hotel, they will have a different price. Some cap it out at a certain number, and some charge a specific number per night for incidentals. And I'll never forget the first time that ever, like, I wasn't traveling around like that, but the first time I didn't prepare for incidentals, and I was like, wait, what? Why? And then there was a whole ruckus in the lobby because I'm like, wait, what? What are y'all talking about? I already paid y'all how much money and y'all trying to get more money out of me? You charge my car? No. What? Blah, 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 blah. I had a whole ruckus. I think the next step, they were probably gonna get somebody, to come, put me in handcuffs or something. But then,
man, I cannot believe you acted up like that.
I did, but
wow.
that was my first time hearing about these additional charges for incidentals. The only thing I remember is having a card on file in case something happens. They wasn't charging me. It was just in case something happens, there would be an additional charge. They wanted to have the card on file, but this was new to me at the time,
So unbeknownst to you, unknowing to you, even when they wanted that card on file, they put what's called a hold for whatever amount on it.
Yeah.
Which that's what the incidentals is. It's never a charge. So incidentals is not a hidden fee. Incidentals is it's never a charge unless they have to charge it, but they put a hold on it.
But technically speaking, though, they're not advertising that pricing for incidentals. If you understand what I mean, this is why I'm calling it a hidden fee, because $25 a night at a specific location, if it's $125 for the 5 nights, then you should add that $125 to the advertised price. No, at least that's how I'm looking at it. And then you could say you in the fine print that they put down in what you sign or whatever, then they could say you will be reimbursed $125 if there's no incident.
I agree with you. They could say that. I guess I'm just so used to it. Mm-hmm. It's just like if you go rent a car. You go rent a car and then and let's say you rent it for a week and that weekly rate is being $315. Mm-hmm. If you was to look at your credit card, you probably gonna be charged, or you're probably gonna see a price of more than that $315 because they put a hold on more than what it's worth, so that just in case something happens, right?
Yeah.
Unless you get the insurance that covers no matter what. If something happens, you ain't got to be responsible for it. So it's in some places and it's not in other places. But I hear what the person is saying is, look, just list everything out.
Yeah.
Because if it's a credit card, which is one reason why hotels require credit card and not a debit card. Mm-hmm. But like if you went to Hertz and somebody was like, look, I don't have a credit card. I'm using my debit card. They tell you up front, oh, if you're going to do that, then we put a $600 hold on your debit card. Mm. Right? Yeah. If I can do less on the credit card because it is a credit card. It's not about it if you don't have the money in your account. Right? If the charge goes through, then it's just a hold on it. But don't be acting up in the hotels.
Nah. This was like years ago, man. This wasn't recently. My son wasn't even born yet, man. It was. Yeah.
Oh, you was a young pup.
Yeah, I was younger, right? Because I know some people still say, "Oh, you only 38, man. You were young." So no. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there you go. but I was really thinking about this because when it comes down to customers paying extra for any, especially with the food delivery apps, right? That's the one that stood out to me. The food delivery apps, they're the pricing that the customer sees. We've heard time and time again how much they've complained about the fees, right? Do you think this could possibly affect how customers or how often customers place orders if they knew upfront all of those fees in the advertised price?
So here's where I need help from you to truly understand. Okay. So out of all of the gig apps that I have worked with, which is somewhere around 17, 18, maybe different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have never used any of them except for one,
Okay.
and that's Shipt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've never used DoorDash. I've never used Grubhub. I don't think I would ever. I would just go get my own stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what it looks like when you're using them and what it shows you. Does it not show you the fee? Because I be wondering sometimes. Like when I was doing DoorDash, I'd be like, man, I'm picking this Taco Bell up. I'm getting $8. It's going 2 blocks over down the street.
Mm-hmm.
How much is they paying for this?
Yeah.
Like if that person went, they will only pay $6.75 for it. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
So I always wonder what it actually looked like on the other side as to what they see. When I shop with Shipt, I only get that used Shipt because I get a perk, and every quarter I get a $50 free shopping. So I use that $50 and that's it.
Well, from the times that I've used it to, I don't use it often. I'll just put that out there. I'm not an avid app user. It's more of like the last time I used it was during when I was dealing with COVID. And the way that it looks is like they advertise the price. They tell you, hey, get this salad for $9, right? And that salad in the store might be $7, right? So they may be adding $2 extra on top of that, right? And then once you start adding this stuff to your cart, it's just going to the cart until you're ready to check out. And once you get to the checkout, now you're seeing a service fee of maybe $3, $4. I've seen a service fee for $6 at some point, right? But it wasn't on my account that I was trying to place an order. But I've seen a service fee that high. They've also have like other fees, like for instance, I don't know. I'm just gonna call it incidentals because like this fee is like an additional fee that is just named weirdly, right? Let's just say you have your service fee and then you have your app fee.
Right.
App fee. Wait, what's the service fee then? Right? It makes you question what are all these additional fees. So this is where at checkout is where you would see all these additional fees and then the tip that you add plus the taxes and everything else. And then you see your subtotal.
But people still do it though.
Of course.
I think people would still do it because it's a convenience to them.
Yeah, but then it gives them even more reason to complain about the fees. And I even if people will complain about the fees, I feel like it's going to affect how orders are fulfilled in a sense where, all right, so look, I'm looking at it like, okay, I just recently did a podcast episode of being tip baited, right?
Right.
I feel tip baiting will be even more rampant. Like it's gonna happen more frequently because of other things. That okay, especially with the advertised price. If it's gonna be $20, then the customer sees $20 and they have the breakdown in fees. They might not order, or they just might say, "Man, if I got to pay $20," or in my case, I was doing an experiment on DoorDash, and at the time when I was eating chicken and stuff like that, I ordered a burrito from Chipotle, which was like maybe like a mile and a half from my house, and I ended up paying like $17.50 for just one burrito. Now I'm looking at the $17.50. I put a tip on there, a pre-tip, the actual price, the hiked up price that I paid in the app, the service fee, the taxes, everything that I paid, and I ended up paying like $17.50. And I was like, why would I ever use this app again? Like I'm a mile and a half from there. I'm driving to pick up my $8.50 burrito. I'm not getting this delivered. So so that's just my the way that I look at it is the people that spend money on these apps, even if they know all like the final price, they're already committed to that. Man, I already added all this stuff to my cart and I'm hungry. Man, place that order. I think if they see an outrageous price up front, let's just say if I saw a burrito, I just wanted one burrito and it said $17.50, I'll be like, oh, it must be gold plated or something. Like I may turn it down quicker versus seeing it at $8.50 and then finding out the charges later and then being already committed to all of what I've already added to my cart. And then I would just say, man, you know what? I'm hungry. Just buy it. You know what I mean? I think it's a psychological game. That's why they do it in the way that they do it. I don't see any online store. Well, I haven't experienced any online store that when you're adding something to the cart, they show you all your total in the cart. You have to go and click on the cart to now see your total. That's the experiences that I've experienced going to the websites that I've gone to. Right. So I think it's a psychological game, but just seeing the advertised price up front, I feel this, I could be wrong. I just feel that it may decrease order volume. So I may be wrong though.
So you're saying that all of these apps are like Spirit Airlines. They show you this $110 round trip ticket, but by the time you check out, it's $420.
And there's no guarantee you actually getting on the flight.
Because you gotta pay for everything along the way. You breathe, you need some air while you're on the plane. Well, we're gonna charge you for that.
We're gonna charge you for that. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I yes, I see that, and I think of it the same way I think of it on our end as workers. In order for us to make the best possible decision, I want to see everything up front. In order for somebody who's ordering to make the best possible decision, I think they should be able to see everything up front. If they choose not to order it, then that's on them, right? They should be able to know what it is that they're paying. Just like I want to know what I'm getting constantly all the time. So
yeah, I got you.
It works both ways.
All right, well, brother, I appreciate your time, like just having this conversation with me. It's always a pleasure, bro. It's always gonna be one of those conversations I call high level conversations, but in gig work style, right? It's not like talking anything spiritually or politics or anything like that. I mean, we did go into a little bit of politics here, but it's always a pleasure to have you on. I just got a question for you really quick. I know usually when we have a podcast episode, you're usually on the phone. Would you mind being on camera so people could see who you are and who's giving this knowledge?
No, I don't mind. Okay. I told you that before.
Oh,
I don't mind at all.
Maybe I forgot. Yeah. But
no. Even when I was getting ready to be on I told my wife I was gonna do this podcast. She was like, "You need me to get the computer out?" I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be video or audio or not. Last time we did audio, but I told her we could do video. So
okay, all right. Yeah. Well, at least next time I know we'll definitely be on camera. All right, not just me, but you too.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. So, any last words regarding this whole Trump and his promises and what the next 4 years will be like before we wrap this up?
Thank you.
Right? Right? Exactly.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's all it is. Thank you.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good one, okay?
All right, you too. Take it easy.
All right, later. All right. That was a very interesting conversation. And if there's any part of it that you feel that you would like to comment on, just put your comments down below and just let me know how you feel about these promises. If you're a gig worker or not, or you're just in the service industry, you're a waiter, waitress, you're just working at a certain location that's accepting tips as an additional, I guess, additional source of income, right? I know as a gig worker, most of us rely on tips, but just imagine if this do go through, no tax on tips. Imagine Trump gets in office, because a lot of people are disappointed right now about Biden's performance in the debate. A lot of people are disappointed. So if Trump, with all of his stuff that he got going on, still gets in office and he pushes this through, like Ace said, thank you. And that's all I can say too. Thank you. And I think I'll leave it right there. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Deuces. Oh yeah. What time it is, D-Fam? It's time to what? Go get your money.